at MX24GH with the hashtag the AM Club. Now, just as the saying goes, your health is your wealth. And so at the AM Club, on every single Thursday, we focus on health topics of importance to you. And on today's show, or today's episode of The Lifestyle, we will take you through a deep conversation into shisha smoking and the pros and cons. You now know that shisha has arguably become the most fashionable means of smoking. Pubs, clubs, and parties usually make room for shisha smoking. Yes, it comes in different types of flavors and feels better than cigarettes. However, it is not safer than cigarettes. That's right, because the amount of shisha inhaled during an hour of smoking shisha is the same as consuming over 100 cigarettes. So joining me on this conversation, I have, let me get the names, Stephen Obodai, right?
Obodai.
Oh,
You're allowed on that.
Thank you very much. And he is an advocate for anti-shisha abuse. And I also have John Asogonnde.
Yes.
Yeah, I got it right. Who is an ex-drug abuse. Welcome to the AM Club.
Thank you.
And I hope to have a very lovely conversation with you about the pros and cons of smoking shisha. But before we do that, let's take a quick look at a shisha pub that we visited some time ago to basically have a feeling or know how to make shisha.
Hi guys, welcome to Trips Smoke Shop. Trips is a vice shop. We sell everything that makes you high. And here we have different types of shisha pots. Some are plastic, glass, and they're very durable pots. We just have different types of pots. It doesn't necessarily give you a different type of vibe, but people like to be a bit stylish about how they smoke, the kind of pot they smoke in, the colors and everything. Some of them come with lights, some of them are just plain pots. Some of them just like the design of the pot, like maybe someone is a fisherman and he wants to smoke his hookah in style, so he would rather smoke it in this pot that looks like a bowl. There are different types of flavors. We have the mint flavor, the bubble gum, and for some people that smoke a lot, we advise them not to smoke. Like we advise them to actually use the nicotine-free flavors, which I feel like we're the only shop that has in Ghana. So now let me show you the different types of shisha flavors we have and the process of making shisha. So on this table, we have a few of our flavors here. This is Blue Beach. That's a special flavor from Germany. This is Love 66. It's almost everybody's favorite flavor. Everybody loves it. It doesn't come in any different types. It's just Love 66. And we have this one here as a bubble gum. So we have strawberry and we have love, which is in Arabic and is mint flavor. So there's this special flavor over here. It's actually made of stones. You can reuse it. You use it one time. After you're done using it, you put it back in the container for a bit and then put it in the fridge so you can use it again another time. So we have different types of that flavor here. And we have this. This is my personal favorite flavor, which is nicotine-free. It has no nicotine in it. It's very healthy. Well, smoking is not healthy, but it's more healthier.
Okay, so Stephen, you're laughing at what Esther here is showcasing and telling us about. I mean, she did mention that she has also nicotine-free flavors, meaning that it's not as harmful as the normal flavors that you add.
The point is, you just said not as harmful. It is equally harmful still.
Okay, all right. We'll get into the actual debate because I feel like Stephen is ready. He's boiling. So obviously you're an advocate for shisha smoking.
Exactly.
So I understand your point. And John, you also used to be an ex-drug
abuser. Yes.
Abuser.
Definitely.
Okay. And wait. So in terms of the drugs that you used to take, was it just shisha or other things?
No, so I don't even consider shisha as part of my drug addiction, even though I used to take shisha a lot as well. But marijuana was what I was addicted to.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And what did that do to you as a person?
Marijuana?
Yeah.
Well, I think marijuana basically eliminates your willpower, your focus, and your ambition. Okay. And these are 3 things you need to be successful in life. So, yeah, it was not helpful.
Okay. So now let's refer to the video that we just watched. There are so many different types of pots, as you've seen. People who like different types of designs, you know, they can go for those kind of pots. And then the way you make the shisha as well, I know that it involves coal, charcoal, you add flavor. Some people can mix it with different types of things as well to eventually get the full shisha to function and then smoke it. So what exactly are you against? Is it the coal that you have to add to it? Is it the flavor that you add to it? Or is it just smoking in general?
Smoking shisha in general. And the main focus on shisha is because, you know, as you just saw, you saw all the pots, you saw all the different types, you've seen all the flavors and whatnot. It is highly attractive. Yeah. So you can find people, 13, 12-year-olds, just easily jumping onto that. And I was just having a conversation with John. I know everybody knows that, Charlie, when people go and sit down, they're smoking their shisha, they can add a little bit of something in there, from weed to a whole lot of other things. And it's like, it's a props to jump onto other things. And the truth of the matter is, sitting down smoking shisha for just an hour is basically equivalent to smoking 100 sticks of cigarettes. So
you mentioned that it's a prop to jumping onto other things. What exactly do you mean by that? Because I know people who just smoke shisha when they go outside and maybe when they're around their friends and they probably have a drink or two or eating, and then they would maybe have like some shisha, but then it doesn't make them an abuser, or it doesn't mean that they're addicted to smoking shisha.
Yeah. So now, when I say, I'm not saying that just smoking shisha would definitely push you onto doing other things. My focus is, you know, you get comfortable with it. Let's just say you step out with your friends. Okay, you're smoking shisha. You're very comfortable with it. One time you go, they're already smoking their thing, and they flicked it up just a little bit with a little bit of weed in that you don't even know. So you start pulling it, and you're enjoying the vibe. You're having a good time. Later on, you find out that there's weed in there. Oh, Charlie, but the weed, it wasn't so serious like that. This is the weed they're talking about. Everybody's like, weed. But that was cool. And then it starts like that.
Okay, I totally understand your point, but then again, when you are ordering for shisha, you ask them, or you tell them
what you want. I just gave you an example in the sense that you came and sat down. You didn't know it was flaked because you came to meet your people seated already. Now, I'm not saying that it is conk that once you start smoking shisha, you're going to jump onto weed or whatnot. I'm just trying to tell you that it's just like alcohol. You can start with Smirnoff, and eventually, you jump onto some cocktail. Okay, so what was in there? Martini. You've got a little bit of syrup in there. Then next thing you know, okay, can I have martini? You get what I'm saying? So it's a gradual phase, and it's not like legit that, okay, because I smoke shisha, I'm going to jump onto weed. But it's just a props that could easily get you onto other things as well.
Okay, John, do you agree with what Stephen is saying?
Yes, absolutely. I think that's how every drug addict begins. Nobody just gets up and become a drug addict instantly. It's a process. It's from taking something small. I particularly started with cigarettes, and before I knew it, I was addicted to marijuana. So yes, definitely, if you're going to be smoking shisha occasionally, then there's a chance that you'd get hooked on it and even get introduced to other drugs.
Okay. So in terms of smoking shisha, you've tried smoking shisha before, I mean, you have smoked shisha before. What is the difference between smoking shisha and smoking cigarette? Would you say that the feel is different, or maybe what the high that you get is different, or is the same thing?
I think, like there's research that has been proving that smoking shisha is smoking shisha for like an hour, it's almost like 100 cigarettes, because just one puff of shisha is almost like one stick of cigarettes. So definitely, I think shisha makes you higher than cigarettes, and also it's just the feeling of the coolness surrounded with it, because you're pulling shisha. You see on social media people want to show that they're smoking, and then they inhale and blow out the smoke out there. So that's that whole euphoria around it. is what makes people interested in it, you know, just to feel cool. And by so doing, you sit down before you realize it's 2 hours already, and then you've inhaled so much more than someone who is just smoking a stick of cigarettes.
Can I jump on that?
Okay.
Also, I'm just trying to delve into the exact question.
Okay.
So, per my understanding, you're trying to get to the feeling of cigarettes and shisha, right? Now, normal cigarettes are usually relatively bitter, except, okay, right now they've got the introduction of the downhill, even with Rothmans, they've got the switchback ones that can change the flavors and whatnot.
And the mints and stuff.
But traditionally, if you go to a normal shop, you want to get cigarettes, you're going to find a king-size Pall Mall and a couple of other stuff, and most of these ones are hard.
Yeah.
However, what makes shisha a little more interesting is the fact that you've got all these nice flavors in there.
Exactly.
And when you pull,
and I think that is why people also feel like it's maybe safer than cigarette, because it comes with some type of flavor.
Exactly.
So if I can taste maybe bubblegum or strawberries in my mouth, pineapples in my mouth, then it means that
unfortunately,
it's
that's not
safer.
the case. It's not safer.
Yeah.
I mean, the research has proven it that it's not safer. People also think maybe the water underneath the pot, you know, filters the toxins, but it's not the case. The water doesn't really filter anything. So we are inhaling directly into your lungs, and you can still get lung cancer like any other person who's smoking cigarettes.
Okay, so we also have Dr. Aram Dagadu. I hope I got the name right. So Dr. Aram Dagadu, who's a medical doctor, of course, to join us on this conversation about the pros and cons of smoking shisha. Doc, are you here with us?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us on the AM Club.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Okay, so Doc, tell us the impact of smoking shisha, how it affects your body as a human being.
Okay, thank you very much for your question. And shisha is one of these new, should I call it new? Okay, it's not really new because it was actually invented way long ago, centuries ago.
Course.
And surprisingly, it was actually invented by a physician who was trying to find a safe way to filter toxins out of smoke. Okay, and in his research, he found out that trying to pass smoke through water may be able to separate some of the toxins. Again, this is a controversial one, but a lot of people have come with conflicting theories that is not really the case, and that most of the toxins that are from the smoke are still.
Hello? I think we are having a slight issue with connection there, but as soon as we get Doc back on a line, we would definitely continue the conversation with him. Okay, so Stephen, he obviously mentioned how shisha pots came about. I mean, it's been actually in the system for many centuries. People either call it hookah or shisha.
Exactly.
And you said that you are an advocate for anti-shisha abuse.
Yes.
Why that? Is it because you've experienced the damages that it does to people? That's why you want to advocate for it? Why venture into that particular topic?
Okay, so personally, I've had a friend who actually died. But the thing is, he wasn't just doing shisha. He was smoking cigarettes as well. He was smoking a bit of weed as well. And the truth of the matter is, everything is inhalation of smoke. So I said, okay, nah, this shisha thing, this is what everybody's into right now. It's a whole boom. It's a new industry. You just saw the lady with her shop and everything. And it's just an easier way to get yourself totally messed up in terms of your lung health, in terms of your body as a whole. So I'm like, okay, let me focus on shisha because this is the new hype that is catching everybody. It's just everywhere. Focus on that, and maybe you get people to stop that, and it will reflect on other things as well. Because like I said, I believe shisha smoking is a props to other things. You get it?
Okay, so obviously FDA has declared shisha smoking as illegal, but it's still very prominent in Ghana.
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
It's just like how the president has told us to minimize our outing activities. Okay, you're not supposed to go for parties and whatnot. And I mean, Friday night is coming. You're going to see the number of people out there. So regardless of what people say, it will still be out there. It's just like weed. Weed is not necessarily legal here in Ghana, but I mean, I'm sure you know a couple of people who smoke weed.
Yeah.
People will still do it. The more you oppose something, the more that thing will even rise up in the background. You get
Yeah,
it?
exactly.
So I totally get that. So it is up to us to educate others out there that, yo, okay, so first things first, FDA has not approved this. Second thing second, know what you're getting yourself into. It starts like this. Nobody just got up and said, yo, I want to smoke. It started off with a friend maybe smoking a cigarette. You smelt it. Okay, can I get a puff? And then you took a puff and you said, oh, but this thing, I'm not going to get addicted. And the next thing you know, the next day, oh, Charlie, pass me one.
Yeah.
And then slow but surely, boom.
That's how it starts. Okay, so we have Doc back online. Hello, Doc.
Yes, hi.
Yes, so can you please tell us of the implications smoking shisha can do to your body?
Okay, so let me just jump to it. There are three main implications that shisha can have on your body. The very first one is that it can have a cardiovascular problem, so it can affect your heart. This is because it's basically tobacco smoking. And the interesting thing about shisha is that it's not only the tobacco, however, it's also coal. What is used to burn the tobacco. So what you're inhaling is not just the tobacco smoke, but then all the toxins that come in coal smoke, that's like carbon monoxide and the likes. All these things have a lot of cardiovascular implications, heart disease, so to speak. Then again, we also have lung implications. Again, like I heard what was being said earlier, you are inhaling smoke basically. And if you look at the lung of a normal human being who has not smoked in his life, the lung looks nice and pink. However, if you do an autopsy on someone who has inhaled a lot of smoke, it looks very dark, very black. That alone should tell you that smoking is bad, whether it's cigarette smoking or fumes or your backyard burning or whatever it is. Now, we also have a lot of carcinogens. When I say carcinogens, we mean the cancer-causing substances. There are a lot of these carcinogens that are found in shisha. Again, I heard that was said on the platform that an hour session of shisha is almost like smoking 100 cigarettes, and cigarettes have been implicated in causing cancers, right? So that should tell you that shisha alone can also cause cancer, oral cancers, lung cancers, stomach cancers, etc. Okay. Then the final one I would want to add is infections. Most of the time, shisha sessions are group sessions, and it's just passing around of the same.
But you changed the tip, don't you? You changed.
Around.
But Doc, you changed the tip.
Yes. So there are current cafes. They call them hookah cafes.
Okay.
That provide people with different tips to use. But then, I mean, if you are in a backyard or you are in a ghetto or like just one of these guys who are just even weed, normal weed that smokes, people pass it around, you know. So there's a transfer of infections from one person to the other, and that also can be a very devastating thing. So one thing, so many complications.
Okay. All right. Now, John, please tell us a bit more about your experience. I mean, you were initially an addict. Tell us from how you transitioned from being an addict to now not being an addict and being weed-free, cigarette-free. I don't know about alcohol. Do you used to drink as well?
Of course, I used to drink alcohol.
Okay, so being alcohol-free as well. For how many years have you been sober now?
3 years, almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years, fantastic. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank
Let me
you.
just say that because I know it's not easy. So tell us more about your experience.
All right, so like I mentioned earlier, I started smoking cigarettes.
At what age?
This happened when I was in secondary school. I was about 16.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's when I got introduced to cigarettes. Through, my seniors at school, went for a party and then they were smoking. They gave me one to smoke, so I decided to try it because I was very inquisitive and curious. And by that time, I had already started drinking alcohol because I started drinking alcohol before entering secondary school. Okay. So, with this set of things I was doing, it created a room for me to be also introduced to marijuana. So when I got to university in 2013, that's when I got introduced to marijuana. this happened in my hostel. Most of the guys in my hostel were already smoking marijuana, and they'll tell you marijuana is better than cigarettes because, marijuana is natural.
It's herbs.
Exactly. So
it's from the ground.
Again, I was young, I was curious, I wanted to know what it is, so I tried it, and I fell in love with it. I mean, it felt better than a cigarette.
Okay, so what did you fall in love with? I think people need to understand that. So when you smoke it, what does it do to you that would make you want to try it over and over again?
So I think one of the first memories I have, it made me eat very well because I didn't really used to eat much. Okay. But after I smoked, I realized I had the appetite to eat more. And it also gave me a false sense of confidence. I say that now because I know better. But back then, I thought it was giving me confidence to be able to, feel like I'm belonging to the group and all that. So, yeah, I mean, those feelings made me interested in smoking again. And so before I knew it, I was smoking every day. And so throughout my days in school, university, I was smoking marijuana every blessed day.
Would you say peer pressure also contributed to
Yes, peer pressure, everything. Because, for instance, the cigarettes was my seniors. They gave it to me. It was peer pressure. I wanted to feel like, yes, I'm cool. And I was in Form 1 then, and they were in Form 3. But I wanted to feel like, yes, I'm part of them. So it's basically peer pressure,
Okay, so did it affect your health? But it's smoking shisha, drinking, smoking cigarettes, smoking marijuana. Did it actually have an impact on your health?
I can't say it had an impact on my health, even though I used to fall sick back then. But it wasn't any serious sickness like cancer or anything like that. But I used to fall sick a lot and visit hospitals. But it wasn't anything serious.
So what made you say, okay, enough of this? I don't want to smoke anymore. I don't want to drink anymore. I am done. When did you reach that point in your life?
I reached that point in 2018. And basically, it was because I received inspiration from people like Dr. Mensa Otabil and Dr. Miles Monroe of blessed memory. I chanced on their message around early 2018. And they gave me a whole new perception of life. So they inspired me to understand that if you want to really become the best version of yourself, or if you wanted to achieve your dreams and your goals in life, then there are certain choices that you need to be conscious about. So, they never even said anything against smoking or drinking or none of that. But I looked at my life and I realized that smoking wasn't helpful to me. It wasn't allowing me to do the things I wanted to do. Drinking wasn't right for me. You drink, the next morning you're having hangover.
Exactly.
You waste a lot of money on it. So I just looked carefully at my life, and I decided that, look, enough is enough. I need to put a stop to this. And so I did that in 2018, September, October, around there. And then since then, I've never had to smoke again.
That's fantastic. So it was more of a spiritual elevation to you.
Definitely spiritual.
Than more like, I'm going for therapy or I'm joining like an addiction group to try and get over my addiction. It was more like, okay, I have had this sense of spiritual cleansiness, like I like to say.
Awakening.
Spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
That was what it was for you. Okay. So now for somebody who is really addicted, who maybe church cannot take away the addiction from them, pastors, religious bodies and leaders cannot take away that addiction, what advice would you give them?
Well, the truth is, even no pastor can actually take the addiction from me. I've never met Otabil. Okay, back then I didn't really meet him. Miles Monroe was dead in 2014. I only listened to his messages on YouTube. So nobody's going to do it for you. It's something you have to do yourself.
Thank you.
So
that's what I wanted you to say, because we've heard many stories these days where maybe if there's something wrong with a child, the parents or the friends will take them to some place trying to, tell them to stop doing whatever they're doing. Forgetting that is an individual decision that the person must make for themselves before they can eventually stop what they're doing, because there's no amount of force you can tell an addict to stop doing what they're doing and they will do exactly, unless they decide themselves to stop. Okay, so Stephen, some people will also argue and say, I've smoked for many years. I'm from France, where smoking is a lifestyle. Like your break times, you're smoking, lunchtime, you're smoking. It's every day you're smoking, and it's a lifestyle. And people will say, I've smoked for 20 years, nothing has happened to me. So why should I stop smoking?
Well, the truth is, for stuff like cigarettes, everybody's body is different. And it takes a while to show. And there are various signs eventually that people will even notice on you. Typical example is, I don't know about John right now. I haven't seen his lips just yet. But, I mean, you can tell a serious cigarette smoker from somebody who's not. And how do you tell? Yeah. From their fingers, from the lips, from the teeth. So it's not like when the person started, it was visible. No, it takes a while. It's a slow process, but you're damaging your body from the inside out. So, yeah, people will say, I'm okay, blah, blah, blah. And there's nothing wrong with me, but it will eventually show in the future.
Okay. All right, Doc, I want to also ask you the same question. I mean, we've had a lot of people come out and say that they've been smoking for many, many years and nothing has happened to them. What would you say medically is doing to them that they are not noticing? Or would you say that, okay, I think a Doc has left.
Can I just say something on that too?
Of course, yes.
You know,
we'll definitely get Doc back. I think the network is playing.
Also boils down to your lifestyle and how you balance everything.
Eating, exercising,
Thank you.
All of that,
so you find that the Lebanese, they are avid, crazy smokers of shisha and whatnot. However, they tend to actually really grow old. Even the Chinese too as well. Why so? Because aside the fact that they know that they're damaging their bodies and whatnot, you find that they take in a lot of green tea, herbal stuff. So it's a balance. If you know you're harming yourself, then you might as well try to
level it out
a little bit. But regardless, if you know you're harming yourself, then why harm yourself in the first place?
Okay, but then you're saying this, but then you're saying this. So are you also saying that it's okay to smoke?
I'm not saying
but you could eat well, exercise, look after yourself, and you wouldn't have any implications.
So there's no scientific data out there that says that okay, you can smoke as many cigarettes as you want for the rest of your life and you're going to be okay if you keep taking your lemon and ginger and garlic. There's no scientific evidence. The only thing that we know is okay, so garlic, ginger, lemon, these are stuff that help to minimize the effects of cancer cells because it boosts your immune system. So no, I'm not saying that okay, so once you smoke you should know that okay, you have to do this and you'll be okay. No, definitely not. Plus, obviously, our bodies are totally different. You get it? So no, at all. Besides, you're harming yourself in the first place. So you know that what I'm doing is wrong. So that's why I take no. Why do that in the first place? Then?
Okay. And John, in terms of the processes of stopping an addiction, for example, I know that you don't just wake up and say, okay, I've stopped smoking. Can you take us through the processes that you went through to eventually fully quit? I mean, you said that you've been sober for
almost 3 years.
Yes, almost 3 years now. So tell us about the processes that you went through as an individual. It might not work for everybody, but it worked for him. So tell us what you went through to eventually reach the point where you've been sober for nearly 3 years now.
Okay, so I think the very first thing is acceptance. You need to accept that you are addicted to the substance and it's not helpful. If you are in self-denial, then there's no way you're even going to begin the process in the first place. So after you accept it, then for certain people, they might have to go to rehab and all that. But I'll share with you what I did because mine was a spiritual awakening. So I gave my life to Christ. I was in my room, I was watching TV. You know, I said the Lord's Prayer. I gave my life to Christ right there and then. And I was smoking my last joint, my very last joint. So I walked into the toilet, I flashed it, and that was just it. I never went back to smoking. But I didn't just leave it at that, you know, because when you're going to stop something, you don't just go by stopping it. You need to create a new lifestyle.
Exactly.
So
replace it with something.
Replace it with something. So, you know, the times I was smoking, I replaced it with reading. So I began to read a lot. I began to, you know, go to church because I didn't even used to go to church at all. You know, so you have to create a new lifestyle or else the things that got you into addiction will catch up with you. So even friends, I needed to change my friends. I needed to change my environment. I needed to change so many things like my routine. You know, I had to change everything. Places that I even used to go to or drive by, I no longer drive by those places again because the temptation will always be there to go back into it. So that's one thing that did it for me. And also definitely I fasted. So the very first week I stopped smoking, I fasted for almost 21 days. And that's very essential because if you can say no to food, then how much more something that you are really addicted to. So that helped me a lot. Like it made my addiction just vanish almost instantly.
Okay. But let's talk about what trying to stop something that you're addicted to does to your mental health as well. Because it doesn't, we have a lot of people that point fingers. I mean, if you see somebody who smokes cigarettes or smokes shisha or smokes weed, you just point your finger and say, do you know what, stop smoking. You know, it's bad for you. It does this to you, it does this to you. And people will even stereotype you, oh, you're this person, you're this type of person, just because you're a smoker. Yeah. But they don't know that for them to stop, it takes much more than just them stopping. Yeah. It's also very mental. You have to mentally train yourself to tell yourself that, okay, this is it. Yeah. So you being an advocate for anti-shisha abuse, how do you also speak to people who abuse shisha? Would you just go to them and say, okay, do you know what, stop smoking, do that, or you would offer them help, ways and means of them to stop eventually smoking, and even when it comes to their mental health as well, like how do you tell them to deal with it?
Okay, so it's a process, and you cannot just move to somebody and tell the person, hey, stop. You have to find a way of infusing yourself with.
But be realistic, people do that all the time.
Yeah, I don't know why they do that, because I find it highly irritating. You know, I'm not gonna lie, there was a period where I was smoking shisha myself, and it became a little over the top, and people were saying also, hey Charlie, he's smoking cocaine or these. I was like, really? You know, and flavor. That thing actually puts you off, and then you want to even pull a little more and put it on them. You get what I'm saying? So it's about, okay, all right, cool, so let's just say it's you. I'm not going to move up to you straight and tell you that, hey Charlie, what you doing? No, I'm going to sit down with you whilst you're doing your session. We have a decent conversation about all sorts of things, and then you find a way to talk about, okay, self-control, maybe put a little bit of health, something in there, boom, you end it. You don't flush it or push it down the person's throat. Next sitting, all right, cool, you're having a good time still, but Charlie, you know, so the other time I was talking to my friend, and this is what she developed. She's got this throat issue, and because I think it's because of shisha, you know, but anyway, Charlie, then you don't push it. So you've set a little something in there. Then the next time, it's a slow, what I'm trying to say is it's a slow but gradual process. But the first thing too, it's nicer when you get people coming to you to tell you that, okay, I think I've identified this problem. That's the most important thing, identification of the problem.
Exactly, that's which one, which you mentioned,
And then you can slowly work on that. However, moving straight to somebody who's just, I cannot just go to a shisha pub and sit down. I'm trying to befriend everybody because I want them to. No, it's not going to work. It starts with an individual approach, and the best part is when somebody is able to acknowledge the fact. Then you don't push everything down the person's throat. You start slow but sure. One thing that I really wish that most churches, not just churches, because I don't want to make it a spiritual something, but I wish government could have more of these centers out there where we have counselors and whatnot that people can just walk. Not necessarily. I don't want to brand it as a rehab because people would not want to go exactly because of that. Centers. Let's put it that way. Then you have people who can talk to you, and it's a slow but sure process, and eventually you get down into each individual who's there and help to change their lifestyle.
Can I add to that real quick? So, you know, like the situation of people telling you what to do and all that, I mean, some people even do worse. You know, they're addicted to alcohol, they drink a lot, and they're telling you not to smoke. They're not walking their talk. So I don't really pay attention to that. But personally, what I do, you know, after I stopped smoking, I realized I could help other people who are smoking too. So I actually wrote about my experience.
Yes, I was going to ask you about the book.
Okay.
Right here. Can I? Okay.
Sure.
Thank you. So Breaking Up with Mary Jane by John Asogonnde. Okay.
So, you know, because again, I wanted to be able to reach out to them in a more closer manner and without trying to judge them. Breaking Up with Mary Jane. Mary Jane is actually the street name for marijuana. And so I write this story like a love book that will even get you interested in reading it in the first place.
And it's not too big as well, so it's very easy. You can just hold it, take it everywhere you go.
And I have a guideline in it. I have like a 30-day guide from day 1 to 30 that you can follow in case you want to stop your addiction. And it's not even for just marijuana. If you're addicted to
I was just about to say, this is like the perfect...
It's so perfect.
...tool material that anybody can use for basically any other addiction that you have.
Yeah, you know, I go to secondary schools across the country. I speak to the students, and they walk up to me after the program. They're telling me, okay, I'm addicted to this. I want to stop. And I was really inspired by your story and you being able to share it. has really inspired me to know I can also do it. So I mean, we should be kinder towards people. We shouldn't just judge them. We should try and understand where they're coming from.
Exactly, and that's basically what I'm going to conclude with the conversation. Try and understand people. Don't just judge them because they are doing something that you probably wouldn't do, but understand where they are coming from, understand where they started, understand how it started, and then eventually if you want to help them, you help them, but don't just go at them, judging them, attacking them. I think it's wrong. But we have some live tweets right here. People are following the conversation on social media. So Ask Doctor _official said, your lungs are one of the most important organs in your body, yet you destroy them effortlessly with shisha. Hashtag the AM Club. At Ben A. Good said, the rate at which people smoke shisha these days is alarming. People do it even to take videos of themselves smoking. Shaking my head. I am enjoying the show. It is really educational. Hashtag DAM Club. Well, thank you very much, Ben. So at Stephen Slade 0 said, how do you all cope with smoking shisha? Coughed so hard the first time I tasted it. I prefer my weed alone, please. Hashtag DAM Club. John, what would you say to Stephen right here? Because, boy, you just listened to what John had to say, okay? So be careful. Anyways, at Coco Lover _swag said, I enjoy smoking shisha. It is relaxing and it doesn't leave any cigarette breath in my mouth. Hashtag DAM Club. You see, people do it for many different reasons, I think. They feel like it's an alternative from cigarettes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So at Doctor _Aproko _ said, one major thing that might make your breast sag is smoking shisha. Smoking breaks down elastic in the skin, which can invariably cause breasts to fall. Hashtag the AM Club.
Yeah,
Is that true?
This one, I don't know.
I wish Doc was so on so I can ask him if this is true.
That's interesting.
This is so interesting.
I know it's that's infertility, but I don't know about the breast.
Okay.
At least infertility.
Okay, I would definitely do some research about that and come back and tell you guys if it's actually a thing, okay? So our last tweet is by Laura _SS9, and she said, I really don't get why parents are okay with you smoking shisha, but once they find out you smoke cigarettes, they are against it. Hashtag the AM Club. And that is very true.
That's very true.
I feel like people don't see the implications of smoking shisha because they feel like it's more of a lifestyle, it's more fashionable.
Exactly.
You see a nice hookah in a plane shape or boat shape.
Now you get where I'm coming from, because even the parents are like, oh, okay.
Yes, exactly. You see it as like a toy, and it's like, oh, okay, wow, you know. But Stephen and John, thank you very much for joining us. Now you guys are officially the AM Club members.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. This was an amazing conversation. We also had Dr. Aram Dagadu. Unfortunately, we couldn't continue the conversation with him due to poor network, but we'll make sure that we bring you an extensive conversation on that with a medical doctor. Thank you very much, Stephen. Thank you very much, John, for joining us as well. We are going to take a very quick commercial break, and after today's hashtag is coming up next.